All right, guys, now it's time to bring on my special guest for today. This is a very, very special guest, my very first wrestling interview ever, my very first wrestler ever, and a guy that I'm very, very humbled to be able to call a flashbacker, man. Please welcome everybody, Homicide 5150. Yes, him, the very one, OG from LAX. Homicide, what's going on, man?
What's going on, Brad? Thank you for having me, bro.
Man, nah, thank you, Homicide. I was already telling you before we started recording that I'm a big fan, and I got to thank you, man, because you were the first one to put me over at my page and all that stuff, dude. So I got to thank you. It's only right that you would be my first interview, you know?
Oh, no doubt, man. I thank you, man, because like I was telling you earlier today, man, I'm very humble, very blessed. And, I came from a rough neighborhood. I came from the gutter, so it's almost like I want to bring back. I wanna give back to the community. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of people out there trying to work hard, trying to be reporters, trying to be, make it a dream. I want everybody to get their dreams, get their goals, because I was one of them. I thought I was gonna be locked up, and I was wrong. And I wanted to become a baseball player. Well, hanging out with the wrong crowd, I became a professional wrestler. I travel all over the world. I was on national TV, and I'm happy. I got my goals. I got one more goal to go, but that's a story that I talk about later.
For sure, man. Thank you. Well, you made one person's dream come true for sure today, man. I got to thank you because I would have never ever thought. I used to watch you on my TV when I was younger, bro, and I would have never ever thought like, man, I'm gonna get to interview that guy one day, bro. Like, very humble on this side of the mic as well, bro. So, man, it's just a big honor, and I got some questions for you though, because I want my listeners to know you a little bit better. I want to get to know you a little bit better before we start asking you some stuff. So, I want to
Absolutely.
ask you some wrestling questions just about your fandom before you even got into the business. All right.
Yes, yes.
All right, cool, dude. So, what's your favorite wrestling era? There's a lot. You've been in the wrestling game for a minute now, and you've been in some of the best eras of wrestling, and you're also a big fan. So, what's your favorite era?
My favorite era. Well, I gotta go by timeline. Like the first time I saw professional wrestling was 1985. I'm guessing it was WrestleMania 2. It was a tag team called the British Bulldog versus the Hardfire Nation. After I saw that match, I was like, "Whoa, what is this? I'm loving this." And I'm from New York City, so all we was watching is the WWF. Back in maybe 1989, we had we had cable, but it was stolen. So of course, they was playing stuff from Charlotte, and I was watching this group called the National Wrestling Alliance. And I'm like, yo, what is this? I'm thinking that WWF was the only company in the world. So when I saw the NWA, man, it hit me big. And the first match I saw from the NWA was Halloween Havoc '89. It was Terry Funk, Great Muta versus Ric Flair, and no, excuse me, it was Ric Flair, Sting versus Great Muta and Terry Funk. Yes, in a Thunderdome steel cage, electrified cage match, and it was in Philadelphia. Man, skyscrapers versus the Road Warriors. This is the first time that I seen a good guy getting booed, and it was some T called the Magdy Dudes, whatever they call themselves. It was Johnny Ace and Shane Douglas versus the Samoa SWAT team. The Samoa SWAT team was the bad guys, the heels. They came out there and no, excuse me, it was the Freebirds, the Fabulous Freebirds, and the people went crazy. And that was the first time when I seen a good team was getting booed. A lot of people say that Razor Ramon, Stone Cold Steve Austin, they're the one that was the cool bad guys. Man, I really think it was the Freebirds when it came to the NWA, but it was in Philadelphia. But my favorite era was in 1989, in 89 in the 90s, and it was the NWA. I love the NWA. Of course, I was watching the WWF. I was a Hulkamania, but after that, I ripped up the yellow and the red, and I became a Terry Funk. And Terry Funk has became my hero of pro wrestling, my idol of pro wrestling. As a matter of fact, one of my teachers is Manny Fernandez, and he was taught by Dick Murdoch and Terry Funk, and they was down with a clique. It's called the West Texas University, and it was a bunch of football players slash amateur wrestlers. And there was people like Dusty Rhodes, Tully Blanchard, even Tito Santana, Bruiser Brody, all those guys. And I'm very, very lucky. got taught very well by Mitty Fernandez and nerd knowledge from my hero Terry Funk. So yeah, the era I love is the 80, 90. I like the Attitude era. There's a lot of eras, but my favorite of all time was 89 and 90. It was more of a timeline.
That's awesome, bro, man. That sounds awesome because I always had that question for you because I remember you told me once on the comments that you were a big, NWA fan. And I always wondered because I know you're from New York, so I was like, well, that's WWF territory, so that's
Hmm.
crazy. I was always curious as to the story behind it, so that's awesome that you told it, and hey, that's a great era to be a fan of, man, for sure. So, if you had to pick one promotion, what would you say was your favorite promotion? I know, your WWF was when I'm assuming you were a little younger, then you found
Yes.
the NWA. So if you had to pick one, or any other promotion, which one would it be?
Oh, back in the days.
Any time, what would be your favorite promotion of all time? You think?
Oh man, it's like a tie. It's like, man, at that time it was New Japan Pro Wrestling in the early '90s and the NWA slash WCW. That was
That's
my.
that that's awesome because a lot of people, like I said, I would have thought you would have said WWFs, but the fact that it's New Japan and man, I didn't know that Terry Funk was one of your heroes. That's awesome to think about, and it kind of makes sense now that I'm thinking about it. I'm like, when I see you wrestle nowadays, and what I'm saying, looking back at some of your stuff, I'm like, okay, I can see the Terry Funk inspiration there for sure.
Yeah, a lot of
Definitely.
people don't know that. Once again, oh, ECW, back in ECW, it was in 1995. My boy was telling me, "Yo, you gotta check this thing out. It's a Master Scorecard Network on cable." And I'm like, "All right, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. It's a promotion called Extreme Championship Wrestling, and you gotta watch this guy. His name is Sabu. He's crazy. He's like Mick Foley." I'm like, "Word, all right, dog." When I seen them, I was like, "Yo." I want to be like that guy. A lot of people don't know that even himself, that Sabu is one of the guys that expired. He's like one of my heroes too. When I do my dive, it's called the Tope con Hilo. When I do my suicide dive, that's a tribute for Sabu. A lot of crazy stuff that I do is because of Sabu and Terry Funk.
Man, that's awesome, dude. Because I had no idea. I was always a big fan of your hardcore stuff. The street fights, obviously in LAX that you guys had. Um,
Mm.
I was always a big fan of that, and just knowing that now, knowing that backstory, that makes it even cooler, bro, for sure. So if you had to pick one wrestler, I know I hate to ask another wrestler this because it's kind of messed up, but if you had to pick one wrestler, who would be your favorite wrestler ever?
Ever, all time.
Yeah, yeah, ever, all time, just as a fan.
Oh man, I got a lot, man. My number one as a fan is Terry Funk. Um, I love them way back in the '60s, '70s because I watch everything. I watch back in the days. I watch when he was a crazy old man from ECW. I like those times. My second favorite wrestler is Bruce Brody. That guy was like the Undertaker and the Andre the Giant, and back in old Japan Pro Wrestling. I like a lot of guys, but those two are two of my favorite of all time. Um, After them, whew, it's hard because I got a lot of great guys. I love Kenta Kobashi. I like Masahiro Chono. He was one of my favorites. The Great Muda, even the Keiji Muda. I love international wrestlers. I love Fit Philly, David Philly. When you talk about Canadians, of course, Owen Hart, Bret Hart. I love Yokozuna. I love the Samoans. Um, man, I got a list. I got a list, but all time is Terry Funk.
That's awesome, bro. Because you know what, Funk and Brody, they really. I mean, Brody obviously because he never made it to WWF
Mhm.
and stuff like that, and Funk obviously is underrated. But I feel like those two guys are super underrated in wrestling history. So I think it's super dope that those are your two favorites, man. I think that's real cool.
Absolutely, and but Bruce Brody, that was the first like heavyweight. Because at the time, everybody was talking about Hulk Hogan, and when you put it in the NWA, everybody was talking about Ric Flair. When I was a kid, I hated Ric Flair because he represents the rich. He thinks better than everybody, and I love Terry Funk. He represents the poor. At that time, it was not about race. Like this country is so bad right now with the color and wrestling. everybody was telling me, I can't believe you like that redneck country boy turned funk. You should be liking people like Alito Colon or Eddie Guerrero. Like, and I do. Eddie Guerrero is like one of my favorites. But something about Terry Funk, man, when he beat the crap out of Ric Flair, I was happy because Ric Flair represents the rich. And that's my theme. That's my slug. Like, I represent the poor, buck the rich. That's my thing. Because a lot of rich people, they treat us like aliens, like a different world, and that's messed up.
I feel it, bro. I feel it. I'm right there with you, man. Man, this is making me like you even more, bro. For reals. That's awesome. The reason why you love Cherry Funk, I think that's real dope. I would have never saw it like that. So that's awesome for sure.
Hmm.
All right, man. I gotta ask you because you're part of one of the greatest, most legendary tag teams in wrestling history. So
Yeah.
I have to ask you, what's your favorite tag team of all time?
Favorite tag team of all time. Wow. Oof. That's a good one. That's a very good one. I would say Bruiser Brody and Stan Hansen. Next to it is Dr. Death and Terry Gordy. Number three is the Steiner Brothers.
Oh man, I love that list. I'm a Steiner Brothers fan too. I'm a Bret Hart mark. That's my favorite wrestler of all time because I that's pretty much how I fell in love with it. So I'm the Hart Foundation's right up there, but right after, like right under the Hart Foundation, probably maybe even tied is the Steiners, man. I'm a huge Scott Steiner fan, Rick Steiner fan. So I'm right there with you, dude. And Stan Henson and Bruiser Brody, bro. Can you say and strong style anymore? Like that's one of
Oh
the
yeah,
hardest hits
man. The when
ever.
the music play is it's time to work. And you better go home happy because if you don't go home, it's because Stan Hansen and Bruce Brody killed you in the ring.
That's awesome, bro. For reals, man. I'm loving these answers already, bro. All right, man. I got to ask you now. I got to get into the interview part, dude, because I have a million questions that I'm so curious about. So,
Absolutely.
doing a little bit of my homework on you. You were telling me earlier too. You were a pretty good athlete when you were younger, and you were actually recruited to the University of Miami, correct?
Yes, I was playing. I was in the Eastern District High School. I was playing baseball. A lot of people think I was playing football, but I was playing baseball. I was a great left fielder, but I was part of a clique again. And at the time, I was young and stupid. I didn't care about education. I was all about making money. I see a lot of movies, and it's funny that a lot of these kids, they be looking at these gangsters like, man, I like to be like him. Like, he got the money, he got the girls, he got the cars. I was one of them. I want to be just like these guys. And man, they got me a ugly left turn. And one day, a dean from Miami University sent me a letter. And at that time, I was thinking they're supposed to come to your house and tell you, yo, you need to come to our campus and look around. And I would, teach you and show you, for you could be a better person when it comes to educational, a sports, an athlete, and a man. And I was like, this got to be a prank, a joke. Like, I don't believe it. And I was making 5 G's, $5,000 every week. And I just took the envelope and I ripped it and I put it in the garbage. 2 weeks later, the dean called me and it was really him. That letter was for real. And I was so depressed. I cannot watch college sports. Right now, I can't even watch college sports. Like, I love sports. My favorite baseball team of all time is the New York Yankees, and I'm a real fan. I'm not a fake fan. I'm a New Yorker, so I love the Giants. I know my stats, my games, everything. So, but when it comes to college sports, if you tell me anything about college sports, I can't watch it. It gets me a little bit depressed about my youth. So I'll be telling kids these days, yo, if you want to become a professional wrestler, finish school, get your education, because I've been through that. I dropped out. I did the worst thing, and God forbid, knock a wood, if wrestling is, just disappear on me, I got nothing. Like, I told my wife, because I'm a married man, that I don't even know how to do a 9 to 5 job. I got respect for a lot of people who go out there, who does the 9 to 5, who's a blue collar, working hard, because I can't even do that. All I could do is hustle and professional wrestling. It could be producer, coach, or a fighter. But when you tell me, yo, I'm gonna take you to a factory, I'd be lost. I'd be like, I don't know what to do. I'll go crazy, you know. So I tell people, finish school, man. Like I got a school in New Jersey, and they tell me, yo, like I want to become a professional wrestler. I tell them, how old are you? They say that I'm 17, 18 years old. Do you finish school? And they say, no, I can't even talk to you. Finish school. Then after that, come to me and I teach you. And you get your goals. That's my new thing right now. And anybody comes to me, it could be anything. It could be even if you want to be a cop or whatever. And you come to me with some advices, the first thing I'm going to tell you, you finish school. If you didn't, don't talk to me.
Wow, man, what a positive message for sure, man. It's crazy that because professional wrestling's done so much for so many people, but it really is true. You got to finish school because you got to have something to fall back on. And man, that's such an awesome answer. And thank you for for letting us know the background because I mean I was super curious about that, knowing what it was. What I'm saying, what what the story was behind the being recruited to Miami and all that. So that's awesome. But you mentioned something in that I want to ask you about too. You said you would always be part you would be part of pro wrestling, whether it's producing, doing teaching, doing any of that. I want to ask you about your time in the Long Island Wrestling Federation's doghouse because you had a pretty famous student, right?
Yes,
Loki. You taught
yes,
Loki, correct?
absolutely yes. Um, it was back in he came. It's funny because I had a partner. I started wrestling in '94, and one of my partners he passed away. So I was kind of a little down. I want to take a break. So I was teaching, and back in '96, I went to this school, and I saw these group of kids, and they talking about people like Dean Malenko and Great Muda, and I'm like, yo, they in my world, because I thought that I'm the only one from Brooklyn that knows about this, and one of them was Loki, and his idol was the Great Muda, and one of my heroes is Masahiro Chono. So I was like, yo, they're a part of a clique over there with Hashimoto. So I was talking to him, and basically, I just told him, hey, if you're serious about this, I could give you, step by step, teach you the right way, and see what happens. And boom, he's like my little brothers right now, and I told him very well. He's like one of the best athletes, one of the best businessmen in the world right now. So he's like one of my top students. I trained 22 guys, and he's one of my top guys right now.
Yeah, that's awesome, bro. I was gonna ask you, yeah, because I read that you trained about 22 guys, and you must have been pretty young still at this time, right? So how was it training people? When at such a young age, because you hear a lot about a lot of people nowadays in the NXT Performance Center and stuff like that, but they're already further along in their career. At that time, you were still yourself getting started, so I think that's real cool that you were still passing along that knowledge and everything you still had. You were still trying to pass that along, so I think that's real awesome, bro.
Yeah, man. I think I was like about 22, 23. I mean, I was a single dad. I was like, man, I gotta work. I gotta make more money. So basically, I was doing. I'm a big fan of hip hop. I love the Wu Tang Clan. I always wanted to have a clique to come with me all over the world, just like the Wu Tang Clan. I had a couple of guys that pass knowledge and teach them for, and also these kids, these guys, they want the same thing that I want. Is basically just travel over the world and see what happens after that, and just work for a major company and make some money. And I always crack jokes like, hey man, all I want to do is go to Australia, drink some Coronas, and be like, yo, I can't believe we here. It's a feeling that I like to travel all over the world. And me and Loki, we did that. We just came back from Australia. We went to the UK, Germany, UK. So I'm very, very lucky and very blessed that I went all over the world. I got a lot of stamps in my passport, so I'm very lucky. And the scary part is it's not even over. A lot of people think I'm gonna retire. I mean, I'm into my end game right now, but I need my closure. After I get my closure, then let's see what happens after that.
Fuck yeah, man. I feel it 100%, bro, for sure. Hey, but let me ask you something about Jersey All Pro Wrestling. There's a gimmick in there that I love because I'm a big, I'm a big 90s WWF fan too. So I love the Nation of Domination. Tell
Yeah.
me about the Nation of Immigration, bro, because you got to tell me a little bit about that because I read about that in your Jersey All Pro Wrestling days.
Yeah, but well, is a promoter. His name is, we call it Fat Frank, and he's one of the best guys that I've ever met in my life. He's a cool dude. He's one of those guys that if you're a misfit, if you like a different person that nobody give you a chance, come to my promotion. I'm gonna give you a chance. He's one of those outlaw guys. He pulled. He's like a Paul Heyman. Just put the plug, and like he don't care what happens. So he had this gimmick character called the Nation of Immigration. It was a bunch of Puerto Ricans like LAX. And I hated it. I didn't like it. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. And I hated it. I tell them, dude, I hate the name. I can't wait that we do something to break the team away. And after that, I joined Jersey Pro 1996. I think it was back in '97. I was getting hot. And that's when Fat Frank told me, okay, your dreams come true. We're gonna separate y'all. You're gonna have your own clique. And this guy named Dirty Don Montoya, who's a legend in New Jersey, he's gonna have his own clique. And I was good with it. But yeah, man, I hated it. I hated that gimmick. It's like, I would not say where LEX came from, but it reminded me of LEX. The only difference with this character is the name is immigration, and I hated it. And it'd be pretty funny if we do it right now with the suit tortures going on with Donald Trump. But other than that, I really hated that name, the gimmick. But it was cool. We kind of make money. We did our thing, so it was cool.
That's funny, bro. Because I just honestly, I only asked about it because the name itself caught my eye. I was like, oh wow, the Nation of Immigration. Nation domination. It rhymes. So I was like, I gotta ask him about that. But my real
Yeah.
question about Jersey All Pro Wrestling is, you won their heavyweight championship and you got to do it inside the ECW arena. What was that like, bro? Because you said you were an ECW fan from back in the day. So what was it like to win the championship in the ECW arena?
That was like a major goal. Like I got so many goals, and I was one of them. That was like my first goal in wrestling. Like I'm talking about that big moment they ever had, and that was my first one. And sometimes I think back, I look at my old tapes, and I'm like, man, I still can't believe I won a belt in that building. Because there's a lot of history in that building, not only in that building, in the city of Philadelphia itself too. And winning that championship belt, man, it was an awesome feeling. I had a It was really good, and that was my first major goal in wrestling, winning that belt in that building.
Yeah, man, I can only imagine. Like you said, that arena has so much history, and to win it, and just to, what I'm saying, for it to finally come full circle. That's awesome that was one of your goals, and that you got to accomplish that in that arena. That's, man, that's amazing. But then in 2002, you joined Ring of Honor, right? And then, man, everything kind of just starts blowing up even bigger for you from there, bro. Because you're one of the godfathers of Ring of Honor, man. And a lot of people talk about the Samoa Joes and the Daniel, and what I'm saying, and the Brian Danielsons, and the CM Punks, but you're right there with all of them, bro. You were such a huge part of Ring of Honor, and I just want to know, what was that locker room like back in the day, man, with all those stars that people have already heard of, and you yourself are such a huge star. Like, what was it like, man? Was the hunger just there? Like, did you
Yeah,
guys
man. No,
know it?
definitely. That's the key right there is the hunger. Everybody was so hungry, and it was pretty funny. Now I look back. It was a territory thing. So basically, all the New Yorkers came to the locker room and we like, yo, we represent, and then nobody's gonna, make us go down. Then you got people from the Midwest. The people from the Midwest was B.J. Whitmer, CM Punk, Cole Cabana. Then you had the West Coast guys, people like Simone Joe, the American Dragon, Christopher Daniels. So everybody had this little territory and their own corner. We even have our own locker room. Like if somebody come to our locker room, we will approach them like it was some kind of a prison movie or something. But that's how we represent it. And at that time, we just figure out that everybody wants the main thing is to make the company accomplish and make a goal that everybody, achieve their dream. And everybody, we formed like Voltron. Everybody got together and we made a great product. We made a great promotion. And at the time when ECW went down, we needed another promotion to rise up. And Ring of Honor is supposed to be like a couple of shows and that's it. After that, it just blew off because you had so many talent all over the United States coming in to Philadelphia. And then after that, we went to Chicago, to Dayton, Ohio, to Baltimore, and we just took off. And yeah, when you say I'm one of the Godfathers, this is the first time that I'm gonna be selfish, but damn right, man, I was I was the guy that what you call those guys that sell like, yo, we need a feud, we need somebody to make that person, yo, let's call homicide. And I'm one of those guys, you know.
You're the
Samoa,
workhorse.
yeah, Samoa Joe came from the West Coast. Nobody they knew Samoa Joe from the East Coast. So low key, myself, you know, we made him. You know, he became this major huge star. You know, Christopher Daniels, even though he's a legend in independent sport, he's our captain. If we was a football team, he's our quarterback. You know, that's how much respect with Christopher Daniels in the locker room. The people from the Midwest, you know, you got Colt Cabana who loves comedy wrestling, but when he wrestled me, the comedy became real life. Basically, I give him hell for 6 months, and I think he passed. You know, he accomplished something. People was like, "Yo, Colt Cabana, he could throw down." And I was kind of happy that I was part of that because there's no way that he's gonna come to my world and be a comic. That's why if you look at the taste bag, I was doing promos. I was calling him John Ritter, like Three's Company. That's who he remind me, John Ritter of wrestling. You know, like you're gonna fight me, so you're gonna pick your hands up and fight me. And for 6 months of Ring of Honor, I'll put them hell. That's why people say, man, that feud was underrated. Yeah, it was real. We went to the hospital. We had stitches. You know, we had bruises. He had no sleep. He grown facial hair, but he was stressed out. You know, we our feud was like Tom and Jimmy and Raven. So when people sees the tapes and they go back, they're gonna realize, oh, that's right. Homicide was I'm that guy. That oh, that's right. Homicide. Like I tell people, like I wrestled the Dudley Boys, the Sonner Brothers. Hey, I wrestled Kurt Angle, and they be like, yeah, for real. You did, and they go back to the tapes. But dude, that don't get me mad. You know, it doesn't. I'm just happy. You know what I'm saying? That's accomplished. A resume, a great. I got a strong resume that I got, and then one day I might put it on a book or video, and people be like amazed about it, and they're gonna do the. Oh, that's right. Homicide did it. That's why if you ever see my hashtag, I put "Don't Sleep Tour." When I do a tour, I tell people don't sleep on me. A lot of people they be sleeping on me.
Oh, definitely for sure, bro. Look, man, I'm not gonna lie to you. I slept on you for a minute too, man. I did not know you were this important until you know what I'm saying. I did my homework. I really got into you a couple years ago,
Hmm.
and when I learned it, I was just like, oh well, nah, this guy homicide. He's part of you know what I'm saying. Like, cause you always hear about the Daniel Bryans and the Joes and you know the CM Punks and stuff like that, Christopher Daniels, but I mean, I feel like your name is one of the names that definitely gets overlooked because I mean, you're important in the sense that to get the promotion over too, because you're from the city, you know what I'm saying? And Ring of Honor's from the city. Like without you guys to kind of solidify that, without that local talent to kind of put it over, it wouldn't have gone the same. It wouldn't have had that same flavor to it. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely feel what you're saying. And I gotta thank you, man, as a wrestling fan, because I mean Ring of Honor's still along right now, but without you early cats, man, without all those early wrestlers that put in that groundwork, it wouldn't have made it to where it's at. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, it was only supposed to be a handful of shows, but the people involved with them, because you were there from the very first show, the very
Yep.
first show they did, right? Yeah. So
Yes.
the people involved with it, had they not knocked it out of the park, had you guys not killed it, it wouldn't have kept going. So every night you guys, you know, kind of pushed it forward more and more until now you look at it and now Ring of Honor is what it is. And it's because of guys like you, bro. So definitely a big thank you. And yeah, for sure, man, underrated. But what a lot of and because you're underrated, a lot of people might not know you're a former Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion, bro. You
Absolutely.
you and you didn't win it off some scrub or some nobody. You didn't win a vacant title, nothing like that. You took it off of Brian Danielson, the American Dragon.
Yeah, at the time he was calling himself the best in the world. I mean, to me, he is. Amazing. He's the best. But I beat him.
Yeah,
And
you took it off him in the
yeah,
Manhattan Center. If
yeah, they,
we're talking about places where you know historic buildings where you won a title, you won a heavyweight championship in the Manhattan Center, bro. In the place where Monday Night Raw was born, you got to hold the
yep.
Ring of Honor heavyweight championship there, man. So that what an accomplishment. Can you tell me what that feeling was like?
That's the best moment of my wrestling career. I got a bunch. One of them was like going to Japan, wrestle people like Masato Tanaka, even wrestle Liger, but winning the belt in New York City, Madison, he's still the best, man. The Monday Night Raw debuted in that building, and that was amazing. My number one accomplished moment of wrestling was that day when a B, not a scrub, he is the American Dragon, Daniel Bryan, you know. And it was a great feeling, and a lot of people don't know about this. I love the little things, and the little things was that a lot of the guys in the back was like out the curtain, and I might get in trouble for this. This is exclusive, but CM Punk was working for the WWE at that time. I think he was doing Deep South or OVW, but he took a plane and he went to New York to just to watch me to defeat the American Dragon, Dan Bryan, and that was pretty awesome that he did that because he's one of those guys that don't forget where he came from. A lot of people don't like him. I call him a keen asshole. You know, he's one of those guys that never forget where he came from, man. I love guys like that. You know, don't forget where he came from, man. He's one of them. And he came to the Manhattan Center to watch me beat this guy. And you had the Briscoe brothers. I was feuding with the Briscoe brothers. Those in the curtain. Small Joe, he those in the curtain. So there was a lot of guys, you know, behind the curtain watching this match. That wasn't in the back area watching TV. That was right there behind the curtain. So it was pretty. It was awesome. Like I would not never change it at all, man. I wrestled Liger, and that's like one of my best matches of all time. I wrestled my hero Terry Funk, but that day when I wrestled the American Dragon, that's number one.
That's awesome, bro. And man, thank you for sharing that exclusive story right there. I didn't know CM Punk took a plane and flew back just to see it. That should tell people how important that moment was for Ring
Yeah,
of Honor, for wrestling fans, for you, for CM Punk. So I mean, hey, bro, thank you for sharing that. And man, what an amazing feeling that must have been. Because like I said, bro, if people sleep on you, please don't sleep on this man. He's definitely one of the legends of the sport already, bro. He man, what a career already. And we're not even getting into, we're still talking, we're just barely getting into the tip of the iceberg. um
yeah,
to wrap up your Ring of Honor run though, because you worked with a lot of guys, man. Steve
Mhm.
Corino, Christopher Daniels, CM Punk, AJ Styles, the list goes on. What would you say was your favorite moment, other than the winning the world title, obviously, because I know that has to be the tops. Other than that, what would be your favorite memory from Ring of Honor, from a Ring of Honor run?
Um, hmm. I think it was me and Steve Corino. Because it was real. It wasn't fake. We had a little heat in Japan, and we took it to the United States. And a lot of people don't know that I broke my shoulder. I had shoulder problems for years because of him, and popped his eardrum in the wrestling match. We didn't like each other. We was hitting each other very hard. We wanted one of us to leave the wrestling business, but I'm all about respect, and he got a good family. I'm not gonna lie, man. He got a good son. His name is Kobe Carino. At the time, I know him when he was like about 8 years old, and he, like I could have killed this guy. I could have. I could have injured him, ended his career. If he gets paralyzed, I will spit at him. That's how disgust of a feud that we had. We didn't care. But his son is something about it that was like, okay, I gotta chill, and he knew it too that it was going too far. And after that, I think our last match was a bar wire match. We kind of slow it down, and we went to a separate parties. I went to the right side. He went to left, and it was one of those like, okay, that's it. But I would say my whole time in Ring of Honor was Steve Carino because it was a lot of passion, a lot of stories, a lot of people, especially Spanish people. We call it novelas. That's a great novela when it comes to that feud. But man, there's a lot, man. Samoa Joe, that's my biggest feud in Ring of Honor in history. When it comes to feud, Samoa Joe, that's one. If this is the NWA, our field is like the way Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair and the Horsemen always attack Dusty Rhodes. The Rock Brothers always attack Samoa Joe. We want to hurt him. We want to end his longest reigning title. We didn't like that he had a match with Kenta Kobashi, even though I loved it, but that's on the low. But it was good. It was Joe is like one of my best friends right now, but I would say see Kareem's number one, Samoa Joe's number two, Cole Cabanas number three, and Daniel Bryan is number four.
Man, what a top four though, bro, for reals. And I gotta be honest, man. I had heard and I had read about the stuff with Carino that I know you guys you didn't like each other too much, but I didn't know it was like a real heat like that. But honestly, that makes me respect you more because a lot of people, if you got heat with somebody, you could come on a show or you can come on whatever and be like, fuck that guy, this and that. But you were like, you took it the opposite direction and you were like, nah, I respect him and that's my number one, memory and feud from Ring of Honor
Yeah.
because it was real and because of that. So hey, that's mad respect to you, bro, for taking that route for sure. Because man, that was definitely a historic feud from Ring of Honor. I'm telling you, man, it's crazy to look back at it and see all of you guys there and to read off the names now in hindsight. But man, you guys were just all hungry and all, at the end of the day, going for the same goal. You all just wanted to make it and to make that company. And I would say you definitely did.
Absolutely, and I'm very happy that Ring of Honor is doing the show on WrestleMania weekend with New Japan Pro Wrestling, but they're gonna be doing the Master Square Garden, and that's my number one goal is that place. But they came from a little center in Philadelphia, and now they're gonna wrestle the biggest show and a historical building that is called Madison Square Garden. So I gotta give a big ups, a big shout out to Ring of Honor, to the new crew, the new bosses, the new agents, the entire roster, and they're doing their thing. I can't hate on nobody. Traditional lives forever, and we're gonna see some future legends also.
For sure, man. I'm definitely a big fan of Ring of Honor's current day too, man. But like I said before, it wouldn't have been possible if you guys weren't there to set the groundwork for it, for sure, man. But let me ask you this: in 2005, now we're getting to the stuff that probably a lot of people are the most familiar with. In 2005, one of the best tag teams ever is born, man. LAX, you and Conan, and a lot of people might not know it wasn't Hernandez at first; it was actually Apollo. Um,
Absolutely,
you know,
yes.
formed LAX, and then after Apollo leaves, it's Machete for a little bit too. So, what can you tell me about the early incarnation of LAX? What can you tell me about Apollo and Machete?
Well, the whole story about this that it's funny. I might get in trouble, but I don't care. Um, I went to Puerto Rico and it was me and somebody, I guess, Ron Killings and Conan, and basically me and Conan we clicked very fast. And Conan was like, "Yo, I'm doing this thing," and total non-stop action. It's called Latin American Exchange (LEX). And I was like, "All right," but after that, Mick Foley was hooking me up to go to the WWF. And at the time, I was like, "Man, I don't know which one I'm gonna pick." But at the time, also, I'm a small guy. I'm not a big guy like Batista or Big John Stud. So I was like, let me go with TNA. It's a new product, a new company. Connor is a legend. We clicked very well. We're like homies. So he told me, yo, let's get this. So I went to TNA. The first feud that I ever had was the New Age Outlaws. With my Road Dogg's dad, Bullet Armstrong, the father of the Armstrongs. Then after that, Apollo was going through travel, just having problems in Puerto Rico. He missed a flight. Jet Jarrett was like, he's done. He's fired. So, okay, who we gonna bring? It was Ricky Vega, Machete. Okay, me and Machete, we the same height, 5'8", 5'9". He's good, good building everything. But at the time, the bosses, they didn't like it. The original LAX idea, what they wanted is two big guys like the Twin Towers, like Akeem and Big Boss Man. But Cornell was like, hell no, I gotta bring Homicide. He's legit. I'm telling you. So they give me a chance, and I just hit a home run. They loved it. They liked my style. I couldn't believe a name of Homicide that represent murder was doing national television because I got no problems changing my name. And that's what everybody thinks that, oh, when you go to a company, they're going to change your name. I got a problem with it. I'd rather have Homicide and Independent. That's for the people in the indies to keep, not in the big times. But I kept it. So after Ricky Vega, Corner was telling me, yo, you know this guy named Sean Hernandez? He did a couple of shots in All Japan Pro Wrestling. I was like, yo, I knew him back in the days from Ring of Honor. He's a Texas boy. He came with Rudy Boy Gonzalez and his crew from Texas. I don't know him, but we could click. First day, me and Hernandez, we click right away. The only thing is, I told him, we're going to change your look. He had another gimmick. He was Hot Stuff Hernandez. I don't even know what the hell that is. A bootleg Ravisher Rick Rude or something. I don't know. But me and Corny was like, we gotta work something up. So I told them, yo, you need to watch like movies like Blood In, Blood Out, American Me. I want you to be your character is gonna be like a thug from los Chicanos for the West Coast, those cholos, for the prison. Like American Me or Blood In, Blood Out. And boom, he hit a home run. He did it, and we just for some reason it just clicked fast and it worked, and nobody doesn't know we are the first Latino NWA tag team champions. We beat the Dudley Boys. They're Hall of Famers in WWF and also TNA. We wrestled the Steiner brothers, even though they was a little bit older than I like back in the days when they was killing people, dropping people in the heads with the suplexes, because they are the real suplex city. But we wrestled the Steiners, and the list go on and on and on, and we accomplished a lot, and we went back to TNA, and we wrestled the new LEX, and nobody doesn't know about this, and this is another exclusive, that this is me giving the torch to my guys, because they are my guys, that I want the new LEX to accomplish what we did. Maybe some people from my camp don't like the idea, but hey, man, they are the best people they could take over, and I think they're doing a beautiful job right now.
Yeah, man, I mean, I was gonna wait till a little bit later to talk about it for sure, but so I love that storyline. That's one of my favorite storylines of 2018. I think it's genius the way you guys did it. Every move was brilliantly planned. I think it's one of the reasons, that Impact Wrestling has taken such a positive turn in the last year. I think you guys are one of the reasons of that for sure. But let me ask you about that. So those are your guys? Are those some of the youngsters you were training? Santana and Ortiz?
I didn't train them, but I mentored them. There was a gentleman named Magic. He's like one of the godfathers of New York City. He's an old school wrestler. He trained them, but I'm the one that give them the business mind. This is what you gotta do. This is what you gotta wear. This is what your attitude is gonna be. Don't let nobody bully you. And you can say they're my guys. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't train them. I did not give them their first back bump or their wrist lock. But when it comes to business, traveling, knowing the knowledge, just everything, it was me. And I think they are the perfect guys to pass the torch, because LEX, I got that name tattoo in my body. That name, gimmick, whatever you want to call it, it means a lot to me. And the original plan for that gimmick was that when we attacked the new LEX and Conan, it's supposed to be me and Conan like feuding. But my boy Eddie Kingston, another one of my guys, he is unbelievable in the microphone. It was one of those, like, man, he took away everything away from me, but he was doing a marvelous job. That I liked it. So I was like, okay, we're gonna do this gimmick that Eddie Kingston was part of LAX back in the days, but Cornette never liked him. Cornette never wanted him in the gang, so he rather pick me in the gang. So Eddie Kingston was an outsider, and Eddie hated Cornette for doing that. So he wants to come back to TNA to ruin Cornette's life. And what's the perfect idea to have me and Hernandez, the OGs, to come back to Impact Wrestling and destroy Cornette and his new crew. So it was perfect.
Yeah, definitely, bro. I mean, wow, what a story. And yeah, and I agree with you 100%. The new version of LAX, I think they're perfect fits. Santana and Ortiz, they're just, I mean, if you can find two more perfect guys, I mean, I couldn't have thought of them. But that's awesome, dude. I didn't know that. I didn't know that they were your guys, and that you had mentored them. So that makes the story even better. And like I already told you, bro, one of my favorite stories, storylines of 2018. The way you guys played it off was perfect. Every twist, every turn. The return was awesome when you guys first came back, and then just the whole storyline with King taking over, and then Conan returning, and you and Hernandez coming back. It was just amazing, bro, for sure.
Mhm.
Let me ask you this though, in hindsight, because you already said you guys did some really, really great things together. Do you think the LAX would have worked without Hernandez had Apollo or stuck around, or Machete had management wanted that? Do you think you guys would have achieved the same success?
I think it would be if two people was in the same wanted the same goal and achieved the same thing. I think it would be very successful for parties. But I think there was a meaning for me and Hernandez to team up. Like I say, Apollo. I don't know what's the deal, but he missed out a lot of opportunities, missed a lot of flights, and the company just had it. Like I don't care. Ricky Vega, Machete was a very great guy. He's very nice. He's not a guy that people be like, yo, I don't like this dude. He's very nice, but they wasn't feeling him because of his look. They wanted a big guy. Basically, they want someone like the Hart Foundation, like Bret Hart and Jim Dave Van Hart. So they got Hernandez because Hernandez was the power, and I was the small guy, but the brawler. So they want speed and power, and boom, they got me and Hernandez. Because the original deal, they wanted Apollo and Hernandez, two huge guys, but for Conan, who was the mastermind of the crew, say no, we gotta bring Homicide in here. I'm telling you, man, he's legit with his character. He's the real deal. And at the time, I was blowing up. I was making the scene, and I passed. Terry Taylor, who was one of my bosses, he liked it, and it was a green light after that, and we just hit a home run.
Yeah, the rest is history, bro, for sure.
Yeah.
Uh, one of my favorite. I gotta ask you about this. One of my favorite moments of LAX history, of TNA Impact history, of your personal history, honestly, is you hitting the Gringo Cutter off of Ultimate X on AJ Styles, bro. One of my favorite spots ever of your guys' run in TNA. What can you tell me about that, man? Whose idea was it? What was AJ saying when you guys did it? What was it like to hit that Gringo Cutter? I mean, Ultimate X is one of the craziest matches in wrestling history, and it's dope that you were a part of it. But that's one of the spots for sure that of early TNA that stands out in my mind was you hitting that Gringo Cutter on AJ.
Yeah, I think it was AJ who told me like gonna hit the cutter, and I'm thinking the top rope. He was like, "Nah, man, you're gonna hit her like the top of the rope," and I was like, "Okay, how?" And he told me how. It's just one of those like, just do it. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna land like this. But that fall was 30 feet drop. It was not a good feeling. It was one of those we hit the canvas and you was out of breath after that. When you see the tape, you can see our face expressions that it really hurt it. It hurt it. And I was cursing at AJ Styles like this is your fault. You want the spot of the night, you got it, but it really hurts. So
Oh
that's
yeah, I bet, man. It
that's
looked like it really hurt for reals, and that's why I had to ask you about it. Because I mean, I remember watching it at the time, and I'm like, damn, what a spot! Because the first early days of TNA, you guys like to do a lot of crazy spots off of Ultimate X, and that's one of the early ones when I remember seeing. I'm like, oh, that's dope, man. Because at the time, DDP had been retired now for a little bit, and Randy Orton was getting hot with the RKO or whatever, but Your Gringo cutter right there, man. That was one of the highlights of that era for sure for me, man. And I gotta give you a shout out too, dude. I love the Gringo killer, your finisher, man. One of my favorite finishers always of wrestling. It looks so fucking dangerous, man. It always looks so dangerous to me, but that just makes me love it even more for sure. And I love the name too, man.
Yeah, man, it's funny because I got it from this Japanese legend. It's a female Kudo driver. It's called that's the original name, and it was Megumi Kudo from All Japan Women's Wrestling. I remember I went to Japan. I wanted to green light because me and Loki was watching tapes and we saw that move, and I was like, man, I want to do that move. So when I went to Japan, I got invited to All Japan's Woman to see Awesome Khan, and she was there. And I just basically told her I want the green light. I want to do that move, and she gave me the green light. And I think Loki was the first victim for that move. And the original name is called the Kuro Driver. Then I called it a cop killer because my name homicide. I don't know. It was like an inside joke. TNA they named the Gringa killer. There was a footage. I forgot what tape, but it's pretty funny that Mike Tenay, when I did the move, uh, um he called it the cop killer, but he renamed it the Gringa killer, and we never talked about that. And I was joking around like, yo, why I want to kill white people and I like white people? That's wrong. And it was like an inside joke that I told Mike Tenay. But Mike Tenay was like, I don't know what to call it. I don't know if I want to call it the 5150 or the Brooklyn Buster, like lame names. So out of nowhere, he called it the Gringo Killer, and it just got stuck.
Hey, but that's it's an awesome name, dude. I love that name. I love the move. I mean, it looks like hell. It looks what a finisher should be, man. I'm a old school wrestling fan, and just that move looks like that's it. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely love it. Um, hey, one of the cool things about you and LAX, and one of my favorite storylines at the time too, because I'm a huge Eddie fan, is you got to work with Hector Guerrero, man. What was this? Can you tell me any stories about Hector Guerrero?
Oh man, like he loves wine, and every time, because I'm from the East Coast, I'm a Brooklyn boy, and we love Hennessy and Bacardi and beer. But he's an OG Mexican. He's always telling me you gotta drink tequila, but look at this wine right here. So we go to a bar, and he always mix this wine with tequila, and I drank like maybe half of it. Oh my god, like. I thought it was poison. It was something that he's like a chemist, like the guy is like legit, but he has some great stories about his family, about Chavo Jr., Eddie, telling me some great stories. He was telling me how they train because his training is very different from the people from the East Coast. And this one typical train is hard to explain. It's like breakdancing. Like basically you put your two hands and your 2 feet like on the floor, but you don't basically it's almost like you're standing up like breakdancing, and you just moving your hips around, and it's weird but it works. So he's telling me that's how we train. He was telling me the Guerrero familiar training, like how his father Gordy was teaching his peoples and his family, and it was just amazing, like the way he was training people and the stories, because I got a lot of legends like himself, Manny Fernandez, Conan. I met Eddie Guerrero one time, but he was going through some dark times. So at that moment, I really didn't want to talk to him because he was going through it. That's the time that he left the WWF, and he did the independent circuit for Ring of Honor, and a lot of places, and he went back to the WWE. But Hector, man, he's straight out OG. He's an awesome dude, awesome guy.
That's awesome, bro. I think that's cool because I remember the time when you guys when Hector was kind of being your corner man and stuff like that, and I just was real curious about that. Like, man, that's so cool that you guys got to work with Hector and got the Guerrero rub for a little bit. So I had to ask for sure about that, man. And that's awesome that you guys. And he's a OG drinker, man, huh? Mixing
Yeah, he
the
is. I mean,
tequila with the wine, huh?
yeah,
That's
but he
awesome,
definitely
bro.
stopped, man. Hernandez, they call him a church boy. He's a Christian boy, believing in God. There's nothing wrong with that, but he stopped the drinking and everything. But at that time, I think it was his last days of his drinking, and I caught him his last days, and man, He's a chemist when it comes to alcohol.
That's crazy, man. That's what's up for sure. Hey, but let me ask you, 'cause you said something earlier. You told me that LAX is actually the first Latin American uh tag team to win the NWA Tag Team Championships, and that's historic. But you guys are also the first non-American tag team or non-American performance ever to win a flag match on U.S. soil.
Yeah,
Wow! To talk to me about that moment, bro, because that's history in itself, right there.
it was a it was a funny moment because it was one of those moments like, okay, nobody's gonna talk about this. Like we really didn't like took it like a big thing ever because my point is like I always wanted to become an NWA wrestler and also an NWA champion. And when we won that belt, after that it was like whatever it is what it is. And when we did the flag match, we thought about that and we was joking around. And we was telling Corner because you look at the video where we did the flag, Corner was telling me you gotta do the Mexican the Pledge of Allegiance. And at the time, I was like, I'm not doing that. Not because, the Mexican who pledge allegiance or being disrespectful, because I was thinking about what you just said. Nobody is going to remember that. They'll be the first one in American soil. So when it was doing the pledge, I was getting frustrated and cursing myself out that nobody is going to remember that history. And that's kind of funny that you mention that because we always talk about that in the jokes. And no, to this day, nobody still talks about that. So if you look at that tape, you can see me like yelling myself and singing that nobody's going to remember this. And I was right. And look, you just mentioned that. That's crazy.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's crazy. 'Cause you're right. A lot of people don't mention it. Like it kind of like gets overseen, but that's a huge deal, man. Because man, non-Americans don't win flag matches here in America, and I think that that just speaks to the volume of how over LAX was as a tag team that you could do that in a company. You know what I'm saying? Like you guys were that big of stars, where like it could happen, and at the time, people weren't. There was no massive, people, you got heat for it in the arena, but that's what it was designed to do. But there was no
Yeah.
backlash for it. There was no, what I'm saying, like there was nothing bad that happened from it. It was a good moment in wrestling, and I just think it's crazy. Like you said, no one really talks about it. So I definitely remember it, and I had to bring it up, bro, because I mean
Yeah,
that's
it's
history.
crazy. Nobody, and I was getting so mad that I was saying to myself that nobody's gonna remember this. And look, we're talking about it right now.
There you go, bro. Hey, in 2019, you who would have known, bro? Somebody remembered it. But hey, man, it's definitely history. So
Absolutely.
if I could help more people remember it, man, that makes me happy. But let me tell you about this. Let me ask you about this actually. July 16th, you win the X Division Championship. You defeat Suicide for it. You cash in your Feast or Fire suitcase, and you're the new champ, bro. Talk to me about that. How was that? X Division champion, another historic championship in pro wrestling.
Well, there's another exclusive. I told you, man, I'm a shooter. There's a lot of exclusives that nobody doesn't know about this that I've been holding back and not saying anything. So this could be the first time I'm talking about this on your interview. But on the real, I didn't like it, and I'll tell you why. My dad passed away May 19th of 2009, and I won that belt I think in June or July if I'm not mistaken. And I always remember the Dixie Carter was the boss, and I didn't hate the woman. She was a good person, maybe bad business, but I always remember she came up to me. No, the first person that came to me was Earl Hefner, a legend referee. That was my moment right there. That he came up to me and say, "Hey, homie," because a lot of people call me homie. Say, "Hey, homie, congratulations, you winning the belt." Now, mind you, this is 11 o'clock in the morning. Got to the building, don't know what the hell's going on, and he's telling me, "Congratulations, you're winning the belt tonight." I'm like, "What?" And yeah, they told me that I'm gonna be the X Division champion. So I was very surprised, but I wasn't feeling, I wasn't happy. I wasn't like, oh, it is what it is. I'm just gonna do my job. That's it. And I always remember Dixie Carter was telling me like, "Yo, your dad passed away, so when you win the belt, I want you to look up the sky like you talking to him and say like, Dad, you did it." I did not like that at all, because that's like a very personal thing that my dad passed away, and I wanted to do it my own way. And I don't know, man. I wasn't feeling it. I mean, I'm happy that whoever gave the green light for myself being in the history book to become an X Division champion. I'm happy. I did not like the way I lost the belt also because I lost it with Samoa Joe. No, let me rephrase that. Losing the belt to Samoa Joe was good. I just didn't like the way the story was because it was Taz coming to TNA for the first time, managing Samoa Joe, and he defeated me. I think I told him it should have been an angle, a story. Let this like have a long storyline, and it didn't. It was just like boom, that's it. That's enough.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely, I will admit that I didn't like the. I mean, your run could have been a lot longer, and I feel like you're one of the best workers that they had, like pure workers, workhorse, like you already said.
Yeah.
And I think in the X division for sure, there was a lot more meat on that bone of of homicide as the champion, and so I agree with you there, man. And that's crazy. I thank you for the exclusives, man, because you keep dropping these exclusives on me. I would have never known that you weren't happy with that run or anything like that, because I remember your interview after you win it backstage, and you're talking about like, oh, you want to party or this and that, and I remember thinking like, okay, damn, that's crazy. Homicide finally got his, he got his championship, he got his
Yeah.
gold, and that's crazy to know that you weren't really happy with it at the time. So man,
Yeah.
thank you for
I mean,
sharing that.
it was cool that I won it, but I don't know. In the personal, it's hard to explain. I wasn't feeling it like the way I was feeling when I won the belt and Ring of Honor. Like I was feeling it. I was happy. I had a real party. A lot of people say, "Man, you lost the belt for 3, 4 months." A lot of people don't know that I signed TNA. That's why I lost the belt for a short period of time. I guess Marshima, who was working with Noah at the time. So I'm the one who brought the international flavor to the company. A lot of people don't know about that either. So there's a lot of things, man. You'd be very surprised, but a lot of people don't know about that either.
No, yeah, I didn't know about that, honestly, dude. I didn't know that the reason that you had ended up, because I thought honestly, I thought it was a little weird too, how quickly you dropped it, and then honestly, obviously, the fact that you dropped it, I don't want to be disrespectful and say to like a random,
Yeah.
opponent, but it was kind of a little bit random that you didn't end up dropping it to somebody that you were working in a storyline with. It was kind of abrupt, so yeah, that makes sense now that that's why you would drop it. And if anything, that's a lot more like, yeah, that makes a lot more sense because you should have had a longer run, and you would have had a longer run if you wouldn't have ended up signing with TNA.
Yeah, and like I always remember, it was after March. I was talking to the promoter from Ring of Honor. I said, "Hey man, I think I'm gonna sign with TNA. How you feel about that?" He told me go for it, And I lost the belt, and that was the reason. And after that, I teamed up with Colt Cabana maybe 2 times, and I did like a farewell speech. I think at that moment, Tyler Black. I think he came to the company, Steph Rollins, and I did a speech. I said my goodbyes. I left, and I made my debut in TNA.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude. Like I said, I thought, man, it's amazing to get this insight and this info because I would have never known, man. But let me ask you, because you've had, you've won these pretty cool championships. I'm a huge belt mark. Like I don't know why. I mean, I just ever since a kid I love belts and I love looking at them. I got a couple of, like every other wrestling nerd, I got a couple replicas and stuff. Do you have any of the championships that you won?
No, I don't. I don't. And I thought about that a couple of weeks ago. Like, then I should have get like a plaque or something. Like, I don't know, but I really don't. I'm not really a guy that when I win something like a trophy case. I won a lot of trophies when I was playing baseball in my youth, and I didn't save them. It's just in the storage and attic, And I never did. I never had belts, man. But I could tell you my favorite belt that I've ever won. It was Ring of Honor. And you look at the Ring of Honor belt when I won it back in the days. That's from the UWF Championship belt.
Really? I did not know that, bro. And you won the UWF championship belt as well too, right?
No, no, actually, I competed it. Um, I did some work with maybe 5 shows because I really didn't like the company at all. We had like a little business disagreement, and I left.
Okay, see, I wasn't aware of that. All right, that makes sense. So, but then that's crazy. So your favorite belt was the Ring of Honor belt, huh? That's pretty
Yes.
dope. Man. Like, that's crazy. I would have thought it would have been the X division one. I don't know, probably just because when I was a kid at the time, still, and just that the big old red X on the belt is just
Nah.
always like iconic to me. But no, man, I can understand for sure that it would be I mean the Ring of Honor championship. It just not to shit on the X Division one, but I think the Ring of Honor one, it's the world title and all that, and how you won it, where you won it, who you won it off. I understand why it's more, why it would mean more. But hey, let me ask you this: in 2010, you start your second run, kind of pretty much in the Indies, and you kind of get a whole new batch of talent to work with. Like I already alluded to it earlier. You worked with a lot of historic names, in Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, Jay Lethal, so many big stars. But then in your second run in the Indies, you work with a bunch of other big stars too. You work with Johnny Gargano, Sammy Callahan, Don Moxley, who a lot of people would later come to know as Dean Ambrose,
Yeah.
Rich Swann, Red Dragon, Kevin Steen. You actually fought Kevin Steen for the Ring of Honor Heavyweight Championship later on. So, what can you tell me about that second indie run, man? Because you got to work with a lot of awesome, up and coming talent, and now we're starting to see, come up into the big stage.
It's almost like I slept with these guys. Meaning like not sleeping on them, like they ain't got no talent. It was more like it just me leaving corporate wrestling and just going back to the independent wrestling. And when I go back to the independent wrestling, it's more like freedom. I can do whatever I want. And when I go back, I feel people like Moxley, Tyler Black, Sammy Callahan, Kevin Steen, and I was more like I was more focused not getting hurt because at the time that's when my age is coming up and my nagging injury is really hitting me. Then you got these guys who are hungry. So those guys you mentioned are us before when they came to the carpet. So now I'm dealing like a mirror. I'm dealing with a bunch of hungry guys right now. And I'm the guy who just left a corporate wrestling. And these guys are very hungry. At the time, I was like saving my body. I didn't tell nobody that I was going through some nagging injuries. All I want to do is make money. That's all I was thinking. And I wasn't hungry. You ever seen the movie Rocky 3? When
Yeah.
Rocky got defeated from Bia Baracus and Apollo is like, I'm gonna take you to LA. You see these guys right here, look at their eyes, they hungry. That's what I was going through. I was Rocky, and all those guys you mentioned, those are the guys that Apollo Creed was saying, look at these guys' eyes, they're very hungry. And I was right. Look at them right now.
Yeah, man, I think that's crazy because it's like, for your first run, you were one of those guys. And then you came back and you're kind of like the OG, no pun intended, but you're like the OG now with all these young guys and guys that they're looking up to you and being like, hey, this is a guy that we've watched on TV and stuff like that. And for you to kind of, put your influence on that generation of young up and coming stars, I think that's awesome, bro. Like not many people get to do that.
Yeah.
So that's definitely dope. I gotta ask you about one of these funny things or one of the things that I thought was pretty cool from your second Ring of Honor run, though. It's something that you did with Eddie Kingston, honestly, and it's when you guys were like Nigel McGuinness's, like his heavies and stuff, and you
Yeah.
guys had for Code of Honor, and you were actually in a suit, man. How was that? How was that change of pace from your thug street character to
That
having to
was a
wear a suit?
message. That was like a strong message to the corporate wrestling because they got a policy that you gotta go and dress up. So what I was doing is giving the middle finger, like, look, I'm dressing up. I'm being corporate right now. That's what they want. And professional wrestling, and to me, I always tell people, you got the independent. When you see an independent show, look at the guys. Look at the way they dress up. They got hoodies, baggy jeans, maybe some sweatsuits, sneakers. They dress whatever they want to dress. If you go to a corporate wrestling like a WWE show, look at the way they dress. They got a tailor-made suit. They dress nice, like they're going to church. Like they are flawless. Like dress. They got a policy when you go to these companies because They feel you need to look like a champion. You need to look like you're making money. You need to look like you got a job. So they want you to have to wear a suit because that's their part of their policy. So me and Kingston, we kind of teased them. We was like, look, we wearing a tie, we wearing a button shirt. We call ourselves the Outlaws Incorporated. That that means they represent people like Bruiser Brody, Terry Funk, Dusty Rose, Dick Murdoch, all the outlaws in the rest of the world. We call them tough guys, the real tough guys, And we was making fun of these people, man, and it worked. And I think like some of the people of the New Nirvana didn't like the way we was talking. I don't know what happened, but they let us go and we left.
Damn, that's crazy, man. I didn't know that it was all that they didn't like it. But man, the fact that you guys were sending a message that makes it even cooler, bro. Is I mean, I just thought that was crazy because to me it was just like, oh damn, that's homicide. But he's wearing a suit now, and then I had to get the story behind that. You know what I'm saying? Because I thought that was pretty crazy to see.
Hmm.
Um, but I got to ask you about your 2011 run with New Japan, man. With New Japan Pro Wrestling, this is, a lot of people might not even know that you worked for New Japan. You did you were part of the 2011 Invasion tour, correct?
Yes, yes. Um, we're supposed to do some business with New Japan and Jersey Pro, and in my personal opinion about that, I think it just went down under. New Japan was looking for American I would say American promotion that could work a working relationship. So they found Jozo Pro to see what happens. And I think the talent was great. I did great. I was feuding with Tiger Mask, do something Liger, Prince David at the time. But after that, I don't know what happened. They just stopped calling Jozo Pro, and Jozo Pro got with Ring of Honor. And now they're doing business together.
That's crazy, man. No, I didn't know that because I thought so too when I heard of it and I looked it up. I was like, oh, that's crazy because it's kind of it's kind of a small run. It's kind of just the Invasion tour. So that's interesting to find out that that's why I didn't know that that's because of the relationship with Jersey All Pro. I
Yes.
wasn't aware of that. But let me ask you something about
Mm,
working with Japanese talent though, and this is
mm.
something that I've always wondered even as a kid. Um, is the language barrier, how does that work, man? Like when you guys are calling spots in the ring, like how do you guys communicate, like how does that go?
I think it's more body language. Like we got this kind of code. Like we throw our arm and we tell them, you come and basically I'm gonna hit you with a clothesline or lariat, and they say heat. That means like I'm gonna beat you up. So it's more like body language instead of like talking to each other. Because some of these Japanese wrestlers they know English, they know Spanish, but if you don't know nothing at all, you gotta be smart when it comes to like professional wrestling and also your international wrestling. Like I'm very smart with everything. I want to learn everything, lucha libre, the European style. Every country got a different style, and Japan is more physical, and language barrier is different. So it's more of a body language that you gotta face. When I wrestled Joseph the Liger, he knows Spanish and he knows English too, but he was talking Japanese to me, and not that I don't understand. I could understand what he wanted to do, like his surfboard, his Liger slap, telling me hit me with the cutter, like stuff like that, and it's just like one of those like you're wrestling so much, you're training, what they're doing because it's all body language.
So basically it's like the universal language of wrestling, right? It's something
Yes.
that us normal people we will never know it like that, but it's something that you guys, it's almost programmed into you, man. That's awesome, bro. That's super fucking awesome for
It's
reals,
like
man.
that people do sign language.
Yeah, that's real dope, man, for reals. Hey, and you've been already kind of talking about it, and I was gonna wait till we got to the New Japan part to ask you, but you actually got to wrestle him in all Jersey.
Jersey
Um,
Pro.
yeah, so you ended up getting to wrestle Liger there, right? So that's crazy. How was wrestling one of the legends of Japanese wrestling like that, man?
Man, if I was like 5 years old, I'd be crying like a little baby. I couldn't believe it. Like they told me, I thought it was a prank, like it was a joke, and they told me, "No, you're gonna fight this guy." And I'm like, "Do you know who he is?" And they was laughing at me. And man, it's just like one of those. I got a lot of moments, and that's my top five. Is with Liger. Matter of fact, that's number two. So wrestling him and telling me like what you want to do, because in wrestling you deal with a lot of egos. You deal with a lot of people that that uh don't want to make you look strong. But Liger, he wants to make you, because he already knows he's a legend. Like he I could beat Liger, but he already knows that I'm the man. That's the feeling that I like. Like if you beat me, it's like okay, all right. So like a wrestler, his name is Barry Horowitz, and I tell him, okay, you're gonna beat me with a body slam, 1, 2, 3. He won the match, but I got this confident level that I know I'm the motherfucking man, and it's a confidence level that you got to have in wrestling. It's just general in life. You know, if you do something good in your life, you got to have that confidence level. And Liger, man, he's like the James Bond of wrestling. That boy got confident. He know he's the man. So wrestling him was like amazing, and he knew that he still got it in the end, and because he's very confident.
That's amazing, bro. Man, what a story. What man, wrestling Liger, that fuck, man. That must have been so crazy, dude. Like I'm a huge Liger fan. Just like the image of seeing him when I was a kid, I always used to be like, man, this guy, this is a wrestling star for sure. Just looking at him, you knew that guy was over. So the fact that you got to work with him and the fact that he's humble and lets you, wanted to actually come to you and be like, hey, how do you want to
Oh,
work? What do you want to do?
actually, let me ask you a question, because I'll be having jokes. I've been watching this thing again. Is a serious matches, and one of them was Kabashi and Masawa, and I'm talking about all their matches. Like, why are they so good? Then I noticed something. These guys are like gods in Japanese wrestling. I mean, you got Ricky Dozan, you got Giant Bubba, you got Antonio Inoki. All right, after them. To me, the Rushmore is Kabashi, Masawa. Then after that is the Great Muda, a Liger. That's my four right there. Who's your four?
My four of professional wrestling all time or Japanese professional wrestling?
Japanese.
See, I'm a little younger, dude, so I got to go with the younger generation.
Oh,
Obviously, I got to go with Inoki, but I got into Japanese wrestling maybe like into Japanese wrestling like maybe 5 6 years ago. So I'm definitely a guy with like the Shinsuke Nakamura's and
gotcha.
the and the Okadas and the Prince Devitt's for sure. But as far as like legendary, I gotta go with the Great Muda, man. Muda was the first like Japanese wrestler I got into because of WCW and seeing him and then the Green Mist and all that. So to me, I'll always see that image of Muda. And one thing that I always love about Japanese wrestling, and it's something that I wish would be incorporated more nowadays, is just the tournament styles, man. I love the tournament styles, and I think that's something that makes Japanese wrestling so unique and so awesome is that they still kind of make it. I know we're in an era where kayfabe is kind of gone,
Yeah,
but
yeah, absolutely.
but they still take it as a sport. They still want to present it to you as a sport in the tournaments, the press
Hmm.
conferences. I love New Japan Pro Wrestling right now. I'm really, I'm a Tanahashi fan. I love all the new ones. I was a big fan of Katsuyori Shibata before he had the injury, the head injury that knocked him out. Right now,
Yeah.
I'm a huge Tomohiro Ishii fan. I love the Stone Pitbull. I think he can go. I'm a fan of the Gajin guys that they have too. Will Ospreay,
Um,
obviously, the Elite and the Bucks and all that. I hate that they had to go, but I feel like in the last 5 years, New Japan really grew a lot, and I'm really hoping that these Gaijin guys leaving doesn't hurt the product too much because I I love pro wrestling, man,
yeah,
and WWE had started to get stale. And I know you've gone through it because you're a wrestling fan as
yeah,
well. Sometimes you love it, but it starts to get repetitive, real repetitive. And when I discovered New Japan, because like I said, I knew about New Japan, but I'm not one of those people that's gonna sit here in front like, oh, I know everything about pro wrestling, and I don't, man. I
yeah,
learn something new every day. That's
yeah,
part of the reason why I have the show and I have the page, and it helps me, learn a lot, and it helps me, just fall in love with pro wrestling all over again. But New Japan, was one of the ones that New Japan and Ring of Honor, honestly, were some of the ones that really started to open up my mind and open up my eyes to this other world that was still around. Because after
Yeah.
WCW and ECW went away, it's kind of, when you're a younger kid at the time, it's WWF, WWE is the only game in town, so you're kind of like, stuck on that. And so when I discovered it, it was just like falling in love with it all over again, man. Like, it had been a while since I was watching TV and I was like, oh, and like, damn, that hurt, or look at that move, like, rewinding it to watch it. And New Japan was what that was for me. So, I mean, and then reconnecting with that made me go back and start watching some of the older stuff, and Chono and Yano, and what I'm saying, like, and Muda. So definitely stuff like that, Makabe, and just the I love Japanese wrestling for sure, man. And I didn't honestly know that you were such a huge Japanese wrestling fan too, man. So that
Oh,
makes it
big
even
time, man. Huge,
cooler.
man. It's funny because back in '95, I was like, my first goal is to walk the Tokyo Dome, wrestle New Japan Pro Wrestling. And after that, I met Eddie Kingston. He's the one who told me about Old Japan Pro Wrestling. And I saw the '80s with the Funks, Bruiser Brody, um, Stan Hansen. After that, Doc and Gordy, and all those guys. And man, I love Japanese wrestling. Matter of fact, my favorite active pro wrestler right now, I get so much respect, and I tell you why, is Minoru Suzuki. And the reason why, because a lot of people don't know that I love catch wrestling. Like sometimes I like it more than brawling. It's crazy because I do brawling, that's my style. But I could do technical and I could do catch wrestling. But Minoru Suzuki, he is like about, I'm guessing 51 years old. You look at him, he's having the best time of his life. He don't let stress get to him. He just want to go out there and do what he loves. And I like that. I respect that. And he's like
Oh,
one
me
of my,
too, man. Me too. When Suzuki Gun came back, a little bit after Wrestle Kingdom, was it last year or the year before? I remember popping, and I was like, "Oh wow, Minoru Suzuki's still really doing it." And then he ended up having a run when he beats Tanahashi for the Intercontinental title, and I was like, "Wow." The respect level, I'm like, wow, because he's already later on in his career at that point, and I'm
Mhm.
like, wow, man. And the fact that he can still deliver matches that are that believable, and because he was in the ring with Okada, and I
Yes.
remember the match with Okada. You think, okay, the Rainmaker, he's 28, 29 years old at the time, he's in his prime, and Minoru Suzuki's an older man. But the match that they had, and the psychology behind it, where Minoru Suzuki's just destroying his lower body and just taking that leg out, and it's believable, and just, I love, as I've gotten older, I've learned to appreciate that, the storytelling and the ability to get something over and make it believable, because it's so much harder nowadays, man. So I definitely agree. Minoru Suzuki is man, one of the goats right now at Japanese wrestling.
Absolutely, man. And that's crazy because he's like one of my guys right now. So I completely understand.
No, for sure, dude. Hey, but I already kind of brought him up, and I got to ask you about this. You actually got to work what a lot of people might not remember. You were actually a tag team. You got the team for a little bit in TNA with Okada. What can you tell me about working with a young Rainmaker, man, back in the day?
Well, a lot of people don't know about this. Basically, it was Okada, Naito, it was somebody else. I forgot who it was. His partner. They was doing a tactic called No Limits, and basically, it was these three guys. I think it was young boys from New Japan, and they was like, "We want you to go to America and Mexico and learn the craft and learn everything." There was young boys, students, and at first, I think it was Okada with Samoa Joe that they give Okada this lame gimmick like Kato, like the Bruce Lee movie, the Green Hornet, and
Yeah, I remember that.
it was very lame. And after that, I think I did a program with Eric Young, and one time, I don't know, it was me and Okada. We was just hanging out, and I think the bosses like our chemistry, so they're like, "Hey, how about y'all two team up, and we gonna put you with these two guys?" And they call themselves Generation Me as the Young Bucks. And at the time, nobody knew who was the Young Bucks, and nobody they knew who was Okada. So we worked, and it was perfect. It was good, and we worked like about a couple of times. And Naito he left to Mexico because he didn't like I think Impact, or he didn't like America, but he went to Mexico, and that's where he got that gimmick from. But he went to Mexico and he learned their style. He went to see Malau, and he went to New Japan Pro Wrestling. The guy became no joke. Same thing with Kata. Okada just wanted to learn, and that's what he did. So me and Simone Joe, we taught him, the tools and everything a little bit, and he went all over the world to learn a couple of stuff in different territories, and he went back to New Japan and he changed his gimmick as the Rainmaker because a lot of people don't know when you're young boy, you gotta wear, you must wear black trunks, just black. He had a character. And I think when he came back to New Japan Pro Wrestling, he had this swag. He was confident in himself, and he had a gimmick. He had a character, and the guy took off. Yeah, but a lot of people don't know that he came to America to learn, and I was one of the guys that taught him.
That's awesome, bro. Like I remember Okada in TNA. I definitely do. So I when I knew that I was gonna get the chance to interview, I was like, man, I gotta ask him about Okada. Like I gotta make sure I talk about that. And the fact that you worked with Okada, Naito, the Young Bucks, and all that talent was in TNA, and that you got to kind of put your little bit of touch and give them a little bit of your advice too. I
Mm.
think that's fucking awesome, bro. For reals, man. I think that's dope. But hey, this is where I really wanted to talk to you about, and this is one of the main reasons I was so excited to have you on. I want to dive into the LAX Civil War a little bit more, man, because
Yes.
like I already told you, one of my favorite angles of 2018. So how excited were you when you were told the story, man? Like when you were told the storyline, like how was it originally laid out to you?
They called me. They had a conference call, and I did not like it. It was the reason why I didn't like it because what was it? It was I think it was part of their idea of a storyline, and me and Conan, we was like, I don't like this idea at all. Plus, Conan and Hernandez, they had like a little issue, so we couldn't work things out the right way because of himself and Hernandez having issues. But things got good, so I called Hernandez and I told him, "Hey man, like how you feel to come back? Let's do this one more time. But this is the story what they want." And to me, in my personal opinion, the way I felt about the whole storyline, like I was telling earlier today, I want to give these guys, Santana Ortiz, the torch. I want them to have what I had when I traveled over the world, when I became a success. I want that feeling because they came from the same hood, the same environment that I came from, and they want that love and they love pro wrestling. So I told them this is what we're gonna do. I felt that the OGs was getting used. And when I say getting used, the impact was like, hey man, we're gonna do LAX vs LAX, and that's it. Because think about it, we're not in TV no more. We done. So they was using us. And not saying I'm too old to argue, but I'm very tired to argue. And I remember one day that I was screaming in the hallways. I was like, I'm doing this for them. I'm not doing this for y'all because I felt that we was getting used. All we was doing is to elevate these guys' careers and their name values. They feel that the OGs are done. We too old. We don't got it no more. It's all
I
good.
think bro, that's crazy that you guys or the management thought that because I'm telling you, if it's one of my favorite feuds of this year, it's because man, I saw the old LAX, bro. I didn't see old LAX. I saw the vintage LAX. You know what I'm saying? Like the LAX from back in the day in the mid 2000s, dude. You guys were still bringing the heat.
And
Uh,
that's
I, I
what
enjoyed
was
it.
frustrated about that. We felt that we still got it, and it was crazy that we wrestled Pentagon in Phoenix, and the people were still going crazy for us. So it's like, yo, we still got it, but what we got is, hey, we got that for y'all. Thank you for everything, and that was it.
So is
I
that
was,
so let me ask you this. So that the way that it played out, was that always the way that it was planned? Just as you originally, you appear with Conan and then, King takes over. Obviously, then you guys end up coming back. You and Hernandez end up coming back. Was that always the plan for the Civil War, or was it or was it just supposed to be you and Conan come back, and then you introduce Ortiz and Santana, and go from there, or did the Civil War kind of build
No,
naturally, or was it already planned in advance?
and the way I see it, the plan was that me and Conan we came back as the LAX to bring the new crew and then to build them up, And after that, I left. Then I came back. Then I left. Then I came back again. But this time was with Hernandez, and with the Civil War, they wanted LAX versus LAX. It's good for ratings. It's good for everybody. But the way I felt, it was like you using us. It is not about money. It's about making another product to go higher, and you think we don't got it. That's the way I felt.
I'll tell you one thing that did kind of bother me is I thought you guys should have won that first one. I thought you guys at Slammiversary should have won the titles, and then you extend the storyline by you have the baby faces. I mean, to me, I could just be the way I was brought up, learning wrestling and learning about the logic. But to me, it makes more sense to have the baby faces chasing, right? And you guys were more than worthy of being the heels that are holding the titles. I mean, I love when you guys jump them and you take the titles and then you spray paint them. Oh, bro, I love that touch. I love the NWO back in the mid 90s. So when you guys did that and you spray paint them OGs and you spray paint them 730. Oh, bro, I was loving that.
Yeah, I mean, like I think like the 50% to say the same thing because a lot of people say like we should. I think we should went over too, but I'm not the boss. I'm not the matchmaker. They always tell me, look, man, you losing, but this is what's gonna happen afterwards. And to me, it's like whatever. It is what it is. Then the next time we wrestled it was a street. It was never a match. It was just more of a street. They got their belts back. I didn't like either. It was a couple of things that I didn't like when it comes to like storylines and writing. I didn't like it. But it is what it is. I do love the Kirky Jungle. I think that should have been the end I said. But other than that, everybody got a different opinion about their writing and some of their writing I'm not a fan of it. But to me, only me, I felt that I wanted Santana and Ortiz to get that torch. I want them to elevate their careers, and I think we did. I don't know about my camp, but I know I did.
No, I feel it, man. To me that you guys put them on the map. Honestly, you guys. I mean, and the thing that impressed me is that impressed me about them is that, like, man, the name LAX, like, not to not to be trying to kiss your ass or nothing, but that's some pretty big shoes to fill. You know what I'm saying? And I
Hmm.
feel like they filled them. I feel like you look at them and I don't look at them, and I'm a wrestling fan, bro. I'm a wrestling mark. I don't look at them and I'm not like, oh, that's paper LAX. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like you guys did you and Hernandez put them over so strong that you look at them and you're like, oh no, you know what? That is LAX. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and
And that's
that I
what we
think that's a
wanted.
testament to what you guys did.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we wanted. We don't want like because we see a lot of reviews and messages like all the paper they wannabes and this and that and be the real LEX and I'm like, ah man, it just a new era and people got to get used to it.
Okay, well, can I ask you this, man? What did you think about your boy Eddie Kingston playing King, the King character? Because I thought, to me, he was one of the highlights. I like the way, um, I like the way he played his character. I like the promos that he was cutting. I thought the promos were pretty good between him and Conan. They seemed pretty real. Well, what can you tell me about your boy Eddie Kingston, man, and playing King?
I think he's amazing. I think he's one of those. He's an amazing worker. He's amazing at everything. My problem with him is he's like one of my best friends. That he's blind of his own talent. He's so humble that it's like somebody tells you, "Man, you're doing great," and you be like, "Nah, I'm okay," but you're doing great. And that's the confidence. You got to be confident of yourself to be better, and that's the problem with Keystone. He is amazing when it comes to microphone wrestling. He knows his knowledge. Um, I think he did. Like I said, like it's supposed to be me and Conan toe to toe talking promo battle like freestyle hip hop. But Eddie, he took over, and I let him because he was doing a phenomenal job. But with Eddie, he's amazing. I think he's a little blind. I think he's waking up right now. I think he knows that he's good, and he needs to know that. And he deserves to be on national TV. He deserves to be on NXT. He loves all Japan. Like if you see his style, he wrestles like Kenta Kobashi doing those stupid chops. Well, I'm not gonna call it stupid because he's a legend, but you know what I mean. It's awesome. But Eddie, he's off the hook. He's good. He
No,
just
for sure, man. For sure. He definitely opened my eyes a lot because I won't say I slept on him, but I didn't know the promo skills were at that level, man. And he really impressed me, captivated me a lot with those with some of those promo skills this year. Um, let me ask you this, man. Are we gonna see you back in LAX anytime? Any day? I mean, down the road, sometime in the future, or is was that your swan song right there?
well, this is the way I feel. And I told Corner we can have an argument about this. This is another exclusive. Um, LAX, the Latin America's change, is more than a wrestling gimmick. It is also like a familia, like a lucha familia. Conan is like maybe the brains, but I'm the heart, and he's the boss. I'm the underboss of LAX. You know, and LAX is
For
mine. It's
sure.
tattooed in my body. I still do the signs of LAX. You know, it's like a real gang. You know, if somebody comes to me and call me a real fake LAX, I'm gonna break their neck. You know, I take LAX very seriously. So yes, absolutely, we're gonna see the return of LAX. Me and Hernandez, we've been talking a lot. Even Hernandez, he wants it really, really bad. He wants because I'm going through a little injury. I'm taking time off. I'm gonna come back from my injuries. We're gonna come back and we're gonna show some ruckus and we're gonna make Impact Wrestling feel that we shouldn't let them go because they want someone else and they're happy and they do a better job. But
Oh
yeah,
man,
we definitely
that
gonna
that
return.
makes me that makes me real happy to hear, bro. Because I'm telling you, I mean, just as a young, you know, what I'm saying, as a young Hispanic kid back in the day, you know, you guys were cool, bro. You guys made it. You made it cool to be Hispanic. You know, back in the day, you had the LWO, but unfortunately, WCW never took the LWO serious, and they never treated them
Mm,
right. But LAX is the first time that Hispanics really had that team and that dominance, and what I'm saying, like to look up to. And so I want to thank you guys for that, and it really does make me happy to hear that you guys that it's not over, bro. Because this last year, 2018, all it did, I know that the objective was to put the new guys over, and you guys did that. But at the same time, you guys reminded everybody, like, ah, damn, bro, LAX can still go, man. You remember, like, all
yeah.
it did was bring back those memories, man. So I definitely, it's like, it was so good, and I didn't want to see it go away. I wasn't ready for it to go away yet. So I
Awesome.
really,
I thank you for that, man, because that's the main thing that we wanted. We wanted to let people know, like, yo, we still got it. We want the people to be like, yo, we still want to see more of this. And I gotta thank you for that because that was one of our goals.
oh, well, you guys definitely accomplished it, bro. I'm telling you, I want to see you guys back. I need to see that story finish, or you need to see you guys go out your own way, however you guys want to do it.
Mm.
Um, but hey, man, let me ask you about pro wrestling in general nowadays, current day pro wrestling. How do you feel about the current state of pro wrestling, just overall, Indies, WWE, Ring of Honor, Japan, all that?
It's different. I would not say I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. Um, it's weird. It's different. It's very different. Maybe I came from a different age of believable. Some of the things that I see right now is not believable. Everybody looks the same. Nobody looks different. Um, I just feel the new era. I think there's a lot of guys that are very talented, more athletic, but their styles are very different. It's not believable. I love believable. I hate when people come to me and be like, "Your wrestling is fake." That I gotta do some Dr. Isaac on you or something or smack you, and say, "Oh, that's fake," But I love believableness. I like when you go to a movie and you're gonna watch Scarface and you be seeing that movie and Tony Montana, he's killing somebody and you saying to yourself, man, that could happen in real life. And you go to a wrestling show where you see somebody. give a European uppercut, even my finisher, a nigga killer, I want that person to be like, man, I don't know if that's fake. That could be real or that could be fake. I always like to play a joke. I want people to know everything is real. Some are real, but some is like bougie, like whatever. But I like I like the realness. And this era of wrestling is a lot of jokes. It's a lot of haha. You know, I don't know, man. I can't. Like I said, I would not say I don't like it at all because if I don't like it at all, I would not be watching it. But I still watch it, you know. But I do believe it is not believable. It's not the same thing. Like I was watching a match. I forgot who it was, but it was somebody was giving a power slam, and the guy just got up and did something else. It wasn't even strong style. It was lame. I'm not a fan of that. You know,
Oh,
if I
I'm right there with you, dude. Um, and I think that's one of the reasons why I discovered or started to go more towards Japan and that strong style is because
Mm,
I know Japan is guilty of it too. I'm not gonna sit there and act like New Japan or any of these other promotions don't get gimmicky too, and sometimes they rely too much on the flippy stuff. But what I like about Japan and especially specifically a guy like Tomohiro Ishii or like you said, a Minoru Suzuki is that style, man. It's that strong style, and there's just a different approach. It's a breath of fresh air, almost like from the current day wrestling, where you know kayfabe's been dead for a long time now. Like everybody knows what's up. Everybody's been smart enough to the business, but I feel like that's the beauty of it. That's what makes it hard now, and that's what makes it so impressive when you can still hook the people and make them believe and get them to commit emotionally like that. I mean, it's almost like Jordan, in his prime, or like Kobe in his prime. It's like what they're gonna do. Can you stop it? And then the fact that you can't makes it more impressive. It's kind of like that with pro wrestling. Like it's a work, and the smart fans know what's up, but the fact that you can still hook somebody, that's where the real talent is, man. And that's why I mean I agree with you. Some of the stuff with wrestling gets a little gimmicky, and it gets a little they don't take it serious, and that's kind of disrespectful to some wrestling fans and the purists and stuff like that. But I there's still the product is still out there, so there's still some good stuff out there. You just got to look for it. But I
mhm.
feel happy that at least there is something. I mean, you got to look for it, but at least it's out there.
Absolutely, man.
Um, hey, so you told me a little bit earlier that, and this is something I didn't know. So at the time when you were about to sign with TNA, Mick Foley was hooking you up with WWE. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, it was more like a Red Alvarado show, and it was I forgot what New York City, and Mick Foley came up to me and told me, "Man, Vic, man, will love this because you got the people in your hands. So I'm gonna give you one of his numbers. You give him a call, and we get it from there." And I never did.
Wow,
uh,
that's crazy, dude. I honestly didn't know that because that's one of the questions I obviously had for you. I was gonna ask, because I always was curious about that. I mean, Conan is one of the guys where I wish that we would have got to see K Dog, in WWE. I never understood why it didn't happen. Obviously, other than the Max Moon run that he had earlier in the beginning, but he never made it onto TV with that character. And I always wanted like the authentic, K Dog Conan, late '90s, early 2000s version. I really wanted to see him in WWE. And you're another guy along those same lines that I always wondered, like, how come Homicide never made it to WWE? The talent's there. Like, I was just always curious why that didn't happen. And it's cool to know that at least that you were approached, because I was like, man, what's up with that? Like, that's kind of crazy to me that they never even approached you or nothing.
Yeah, I
So,
got a put judges one time. I forgot. I think it was 2005, but that was it. After that, I went to TNA and I just did my thing.
hey man, but it all worked out though, bro. Because like I said, he's
Yes,
still, WWE is cool, but they've messed up a lot of people's careers too. And I mean, in hindsight, I'm glad that everything went the way it went, because you ended up being part of one of the most legendary tag teams of all time, bro. Honestly.
absolutely. I'm happy, man. I'm good.
All right, dude. Well, one of the hot things in pro wrestling right now is, I'm sure you heard about it, All Elite Pro Wrestling. Um, would you ever consider working for them in the future? I know that's a really hot brand and new promotion that's out there right now. Would you work for All Elite?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm just right now. I want to heal up because I got a lot of puppy injuries, and yeah, if they give me a call and yeah, let's see what happens. but I would love
That's
to.
awesome. That's awesome, dude. Because I personally myself would love to see something like the Young Bucks versus LAX. I think that would be something I would love to see the contrast of styles. You and Hernandez versus the Young Bucks would man that would tear the house down. I think.
Yeah, man. So hopefully, maybe like in a couple of months, they get a phone call, or maybe I hit them up and we'll see what happens.
That's awesome, dude. Hey, well, I got one last question for you, dude, because I've already taken up a bunch of your time, and I appreciate you being so gracious with your answers and hooking me up with such exclusive answers and all that. But I got to ask you this one last question, man. If you had to pick one moment from your entire legendary LAX run, from the electrified steel cage match with Team 3D, from working with the Steiner brothers, from winning the NWA World Championship, if you had to pick just one tag team championships, I'm sorry, if you had to pick just one, which would it be?
Um, Me and Hernandez versus why is a tie? Oh my God, it's a tie. Damn. Matter of fact, I give it a triple tie. Um, Man, that's a good question. um, my first one will be me and Sean versus AJ and Chris when we won the tag team titles, the enduring tag team titles. Number two, the X Division, the gimmicky, the X Division thing. The reason why because that was the first ever tag team X Division match. I guess AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels. And my third is the Dudley Boys, and it was called a tournament. I think it was called the Wild Deuce or something like that. And the finals was us against the Dudley Boys, and I did a shout out to Eddie Guerrero, and I pinned Devon Dudley with the frog splash.
That's awesome, bro. Those are definitely three incredible moments. Man, Homicide, bro. Thank you so much, dude. Thank you so much for coming on, talking, and giving me such great answers. Like I told you, dude, I will never ever forget this. You're gonna be my first forever. You're gonna be my first wrestler that I got to interview. You were the first one, like I told you, to put my page over.
Yeah.
Man,
Oh,
huge
thank you so
LAX
much,
fan, bro.
man.
I'm a huge LAX fan, bro. I cannot wait to see you guys in the future. Keep doing your thing. Man, thank you again, dude. Thank you for coming on.
Oh, thank you again, man. And also thank you again for your great page. Like I say earlier today, I miss that magic feeling, and I'll be going to a lot of people pages because I'm not big on social network, but I'm big on Instagram, and I watch videos, funny videos, wrestling videos, but videos that I be watching like, wow, that really happened. Let me go back. And man, your page is pretty awesome, man. And like I said, man, good luck in your future. Grind, hustle, be confident, whatever you do, and yeah, make some money.
Well, thank you, Homicide, for sure, man. Definitely talking to you and getting this experience is only gonna make me more hungry and make me want to accomplish bigger things. And like I said, bro, I owe you forever now, bro. I'm indebted to you for sure after this one because
No doubt, man.
you hooked me up right here and gave me one of the best interviews I could ever ask for. So I gotta thank you one more time, bro. And hey, good luck in the future. And I'm gonna be watching. So I can't wait to see what you got in the future for us.
All right, bro. Thank you so much. All right.